Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, joined by the 5'1" of the world, Jill Ciminillo.
And I have to apologize. I literally just came in from a run, so I'm like sweaty and my face is all red. So, but I had to get it in, and this was my last opportunity because the sun's going down. So, hi. This is me, like without any alcohol or caffeine. I have had no caffeine today. So,
People
bring
get
on the
me
water.
fired up. People are like, you drink too much coffee, Tim. I'm like, have you met Jill? She runs on nothing. That's water. Yeah, that's just insane. All right, so we've had a pretty busy last week and this week. A lot of stuff going on the channel, lots of stuff coming in the future. But Jill, I have to know, like, the $1 million question. When you paint your nails, do you paint them or put wax on them?
Oh, I know where this is going. By the way, okay, funny you should ask this question. More information than any of you dudes want out there right now, but I haven't tried it yet. But I have literally just bought these.
What? They're colored?
It says Color Street, and they're little tabs. And you like take them out and you press them under your nails, and they're supposed to be like nail polish, paint. So not wax, but it's supposed to be like paint. And they're like the size of your nails, and you just put them on and press them on and let them dry.
Okay, back to Pickup Truck Plus
Hey,
Talk.
You made the mistake of asking me if I painted my nails, and I just happen to have these things handy. So your fault, not mine.
Yeah.
I apologize for Tim.
I didn't plan that one well. I apologize.
Oh, but look, I also have green.
Ooh. And wait, there's more.
There is, but it's over there, and I'm not going to go get it.
Okay, what the hell is Tim talking about? On pickuptrucktalk.com, the really interesting story last week happened. And basically what happens is the confusion I have. So the Chevy Colorado frame is painted or E-coated. They use an electronic system where they add either negative, they make the paint negative and the object positive, or vice versa, whatever way they would do it. Then they spray, the paint actually gets sucked onto the material that they're trying to spray it to. So in this case, they make the frame, for example, they make the frame negative and they make the paint positive. They spray, it goes right on, sucks into that frame. Overspray is not a big deal. And do you remember we saw this at Bilstein? Do you remember that? We were walking through, they're painting the shocks, and they had the shocks in the hanger, and they'd bring it over and like do it. And so a lot of people are doing this. But what's interesting about this story was the Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon, since putting it till when they came back, when they came out 16, 15, 14, something in that range, when the S10 went away and it became Chevy Colorado, have had frames that have been E-coated, while the Silverado, Sierra, all the full-size SUVs have a wax coating. So it is interesting because I've been with GM quite a bit, and they have argued like fiercely that wax coating is superior because if you scratch it, it regrows in, it'll make the frame last longer. It absorbs water better, so it doesn't the rust doesn't get in between the wax. I mean, all sorts of arguments I've heard over the last couple of years in this thing. And then we find out the Chevy Colorado frame is actually E-coated and not wax coated. So, I mean, I'm just like, if you thought it was a good idea on full-size trucks and SUVs, why did it not turn into a good idea in mid-size trucks and SUVs? And I know people are saying, follow the money, follow the money. Well, look, I can't follow the money because they don't tell me this stuff. But I can't imagine that. I just can't figure this out. So obviously I'm confused, Jill. You got to come to my rescue. What am I missing with this story? Does it seem confusing to you as well?
Well, it's just a peculiar. Okay. So here's the only explanation that I could think of that they would, because they wax the full size and E-coat the mid size. The full size trucks are more work trucks. They're going to go off road. They're going to probably be in a situation more often where that frame would get a scratch on it and the wax would self-heal. Whereas the mid-size trucks are probably more of your on-road vehicles. They're not going off-road as much. That's the only thing I could think of in my head that would make any kind of sense.
Yeah, Agent Carter has the same kind of thought. He says, since Chevy thinks wax is better, maybe they use more on commercial vehicles and paint on cheaper vehicles. They don't think it'll be used as hard. I call BS and all that because
I'm with you, Agent Carter.
Well, but look at the new generation of 2023 Chevy Colorado. Those are all built as off-road vehicles, right?
Who's going to take them off-road?
CR2. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, the focus of those vehicles is more off-road and punishment.
But again, who's going to take them off road? I think probably, and no data whatsoever on any of this, but I would be very curious to know, like, mid-size truck versus full-size truck, who takes their truck off road or puts them in more harsh conditions more frequently.
To me, it still comes on the fact that if you're going to defend this thing so hard and make it such a big deal about the self-healing in the wax frame, well, then, go from there. Oh, Doug, the self-healing is BS in my opinion. It is interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. I should go out to my truck and really scratch it. I should go to the frame and find a spot and really just take my nail and make a kind of a gouge in it or something, and take a photo of it, and then like somehow, I don't know, do the kidnapping thing. Take my newspaper with a photo, right, the date on it, and then come back with the newspaper with a date on it, and just say, hey, this is the difference after so many months. But I don't know. It's I don't know what I'd find. It'd be an interesting. Well, I know what I'd find. I'd probably forget about it by the time I did the second video.
So that's when you put calendar reminders on, and then managing editor Jill says, "Hey, by the way, did you do that thing?"
Yeah. Yes. That's why I don't do calendar reminders. All right. So
my life is on a calendar, and if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
Right. I'd love for that life to be. So it's creating quite a bit of buzz in the comments. A lot of people are discussing it. I mean, there's guys who are saying, look, I've had my truck in New England for 20 years and the rust is actually better. And my son is a mechanic and he loves the wax, and the wax covers everything. There's no rust on truck, or it should be rust free truck. Another guy's saying, I had my truck for 2 months and the wax fell off and now I got all sorts of scratches. So I don't know. Randy West says, what you'll find is black wax under your fingernail. I know. I don't know of a good way to do a test on that without, I don't know. It's rather interesting. So I'm just kind of curious you guys' thoughts. It created a big question in my head because, again, I have argued with engineering quite a bit on this, and they are fierce about their defense of the wax coating and for that to happen differently. So this is the question I had, and I put it in the video. I don't think you know this, and I don't think I know this. Do you know if Chevy SUVs frames are so?
Yeah, I don't know.
But wait, the Traverse is unibody, so it doesn't really have a frame, right? But it's got to have some sort of underbody coating, right? Doesn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, so Traverse is unibody, but like Suburban and Tahoe would be body on frame.
Yeah, they got wax. So, and the thing is, my confusion is, I think the Colorado and Canyon are the only two body on frame vehicles that don't have wax.
I'm like, sorry, Wilmar. It was a water. Yeah. Sorry. So he said he logged on just in time to hear a beer cracked open, and it was just my water.
Jill, opened the water. Sorry. Right? What a buzzkill. So I don't know. It seems really odd to me that they'd make that change. But the other thing that's interesting is the Chevy Express van is also built in the same plant in Wentzville that they built at Colorado Canyon. So here you go, guys. Who's listening to this channel? Who's all that kind of stuff? If you have a Chevy Express van, please comment on this video or other videos on what your frame is like, because I'm just curious now. I just we could have this master list that says this, that, and whatever. But I don't know. I'm just kind of curious what you guys' thoughts. Yeah, Gene. So hey guys, this wax frame conundrum sounds like a great excuse for them to buy a lift. It's the only way to find out. I will say this. I actually was looking around in town trying to find an old mechanic shop to rent out, because I have a lot of these projects I want to get done that I can't do in my garage because my truck doesn't fit my garage, and the wind blows and it's nasty out, and I just want to get this stuff done. I'm tired of waiting around for a nice day and spending my entire day in the garage farting around and stuff. I'd rather be out enjoying golf or walk or yard work or whatever.
Going for a run, something different. Yes. So I'd rather be doing that, working the crappy weather inside of a shop and get that stuff done. But I can't find anything. That's kind of a boohoo moment for me. I can't find anything that is reasonable to rent in the area, and it makes sense because I wouldn't need it for. The other problem is I'm on the road so much. It's like I don't want to have the rent for something that I'm not going to use. All right, I'm totally going off a weird tangent there. Let's see. No. The weird tangent was at the beginning with whether or not I put wax or paint on my fingernails. That was the weird tangent.
Things you get that you don't get at Tom Appel's Car Stuff podcast. I'm telling you.
That would be true.
I don't have the quiz, but I have interesting questions for you.
Yeah, no, we just taught Tom about not reading press releases. That's all.
Okay, speaking of other confusion, we had the CP4 probe or fuel pump investigation. Jill was a big factor in this story getting published because I was deep into the weeds on this. So, if you don't know, the Bosch CP4 fuel pump was nothing short of a catastrophe. I think was there any way to say that? The It uses the lubrication in diesel fuel to lubricate the rollers in a cam inside the fuel pump to keep that fuel pump operating effectively. It's actually, I think it's like 20% better efficiency versus the CP3, when all this kind of stuff they put in marketing language. What they didn't realize was that the diesel fuel globally has a lot more lubrication than the diesel fuel sold in the United States. And so they have all these catastrophic engine failures, which are between $8,000 to $20,000 per repair, depending how massive the problem is. Because when that pump isn't lubricated, it sends metal shavings down the fuel system, which engages into the engine, and then it's really. But what I thought was interesting with the story was, if you didn't watch the video, check it out. There's a couple things. Is that the law firm we talked with, or that actually serendipitously had emailed me in the same period that I was working on the story. The timing was awesome. They were suing GM, Ford, and Ram. Yeah, but Ram had done recalls, but they weren't suing Bosch, like the manufacturer. But in the case of Nissan, they're suing Nissan and Cummins. And I'm like, why is Bosch not getting sued and all this kind of stuff, right? Bosch kind of created a problem, and then GM went away from this, which, by the way, breaking news, I found out that the 3-liter Duramax diesel fuel pump on the LM2 and the LZ0, which we'll have on the website here pretty soon because you can't find it online, were Denso fuel pumps. So they're not Bosch fuel pumps. Trust me, I searched like crazy trying to find an answer. I couldn't find it. So I'm going to publish a damn story about it so you guys can find it in the future too. So they're Denso fuel pumps. And so so Chevy changed back. They went away. Ram recalled everything they had and went back to CP3. GM went their own. They said, screw Bosch, they're going to do Denzos. Ford has the same CP4 fuel pump in their 6.7 liter Power Stroke. What I found with that was, talking to people on the channel, was that they designed the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel in such a way that the CP4 is the only fuel pump that actually fit.
Whoops.
So they can't really change design. I know. It's interesting. So Randy West puts out, he says, isn't Bosch's fault that a manufacturer uses a product when the fuel is not compatible? Well, I'm just wondering Bosch is a tier 1 supplier. They really did screw this up as far as maybe communication, because you have 4 plus 5 now. BMW is getting recalled. A lot of BMW SUVs are recalled that use the same fuel pump. So I don't know. It's kind of a curious question. So who do you think is responsible, Jill? Do you think it's a manufacturer issue, or is it supplier should be sued as well? Or do you find it odd that Bosch is not being sued?
I do find it a little bit odd that Bosch isn't being sued, but one of the other bigger issues going on is, I think, with General Motors specifically, part of the suit is saying that GM knew it was defective when they put it on their truck, or they knew there were going to be problems when they put it on the truck. In which case, Randy Vest is 100% right. It isn't Bosch's fault that the manufacturer uses the product. I feel like Ford and Ram, probably weren't as complicit. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for, but I feel like General Motors, like there could definitely be something there in terms of a lawsuit, because of the fact that, it seemed like they knew there was a problem and did it anyway, or didn't fix it.
So here's my question for you. You and I always hear these press releases, or we talk to manufacturers, whatever, and they're like, we torture tested this engine. We buried it in the sand for 47 days and 49 nights or something. We took it up north and we froze it and started it, froze it and thawed it. And then here we have this massive problem that came out. And I'm like, you guys didn't catch that at all?
I know. It's like, did you really test that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. It's kind of like, don't mean to take us back to EV talk here, but it's kind of like with the Ford F-150 Lightning, when the range drop was so significant in cold weather. And it's like, how did you not know this was going to happen? And
Yeah,
how did you not tell people this was going to happen?
Right. How'd you not know this was a thing? Now they just come up with this idea that press release that says you need to park your truck in the garage. It doesn't fit. Full-size trucks don't fit in city garages. They just don't.
It doesn't even fit in your
It
garage.
doesn't fit
So
in my garage
what
either.
the
Yeah.
heck?
So, yeah, it doesn't. So unless if you have a house that's built in like my house is 2007, it won't fit in my garage. The older houses, 1950s houses, those garages were tiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It just seems odd to me that that's going to be part of the discussion about me going forward. It's like you tell me all these things, and then all these problems pop up, like the wastegate issue with the turbos in the Tundra. I remember talking to chief engineer about that, and he goes, "We never saw that in any of our testing." And I'm like, "You had all these got shipped out, and here's all these problems." Like I just it's mystifying to me that they don't catch these problems before they come out. I mean, they tell me they do all this testing, they tell me how to do all this stuff, and it's like, okay, you know what?
But as we saw, and I feel like we saw this a little bit at Bilstein, I feel like a lot of the testing they do is kind of in a vacuum. They put it in a room, and then they chill the room, and they're like, no, let's just let it run for a couple of hours, and that actually simulates 120 days in the cold. I'm like, does it really simulate this?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's some of the testing that they're doing. They're not actually taking it to Alaska to see what happens. They're like putting it in a box, and they're simulating Alaska temperatures. And it's kind of like EPA testing. Oh yeah, you should get 30 miles per gallon when you're driving on the highway in this vehicle in a vacuum, because when all things are perfect, things are never perfect. And so it's like, how are you testing this, and what kind of vacuum did you put it in so that you're not actually getting the real world experience?
Yeah, I think there's definitely something going on there. But another problem that though is that manufacturers can't go with a new engine and drive it for 150, 100, 200,000 miles simulated, like for real world. They don't have the time. They don't have the money. I mean, these engines come out and they go on new vehicles within 6 months to a year after development. They don't have that much time to put that many miles on it. I mean, what the average person puts on, 15,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. They may have to drive that truck for months nonstop to get that many miles on it. And even then,
back and forth across the United States.
Right. And even then, that's actually really good for the engines. Engines love to run. And so if you're driving it back and forth across country, that's actually, you're not going to get the same wear and tear you would on somebody as a normal user. So, yeah.
And Agent Carter makes that point as well. I mean, they don't have a lot of time for testing.
No.
But,
it seems like the simulations need to be improved or something. It just seems odd. It just seems like there should be something's not right. Yeah, something's not right. Let's talk about new vehicles. I want to Ace Vent putting something up. Dave, All-Terrain Nation is here with the handy answer. Why there's no new Gladiator? He said the Gladiator is about 2 years behind the Wrangler. Dave, All-Terrain Nation says. So see refresh soon. The thing I would wonder is typically we get a packet like in August of all the 2024 changes or 2025 changes, 2026 changes. So Stellantis does every year. In about July, August, we get a packet of all the changes coming with that next model year.
Yeah.
I think the Gladiator will get refreshed interior to match the new Wrangler interior, because my guess is if the Gladiator sticks around, that's another part of the question. If the Gladiator sticks around, I think they're going to run out of parts for the older interior. They'll be forced to switch from a supplier standpoint. But the Gladiator, I was with Michael Whalen, who is now with CNBC. I'm name dropping the guy here, nice guy. Him and I were at the Gladiator launch. We're talking about stuff, and he kind of looked at me and he goes, "It's a one model, it's a one cycle vehicle." In that he did not expect the Gladiator to last more than 7 years. And what I think is interesting is you have the new Ram Dakota or Dodge Dakota, whatever you want to call this damn thing, has been shown to dealers. The prototypes out there. The work's been done. Design work's way in it weeds. I don't know that I'm going to see Stellantis competing with itself. I think the Wrangler the Gladiator maybe goes away, and the Ram midsize truck goes in. Because remember when Stellantis split the brand, well, it was actually Fiat Chrysler, split the brands apart. They're like, Dodge is muscle cars except for the Durango. They got rid of the Caravan. They made Chrysler a van and a kind of luxury car company. They made Fiat, like this Italian company. They made Ram, all the trucks, Jeeps, all the off-road kind of SUVs. And so they kind of started making these brands to be a little bit different. So I think it's interesting. So and Elliot, yeah, Elliot's jumping ahead. The gorgeous Nautilus. He's saying. I'm gonna go back. I'll pull up on the website. So the Lincoln Nautilus makes its debut. This other thing that's going on right now. It just made its debut about an hour ago, maybe. So it's a Lincoln. It's interesting. You make a lot of interesting points in this story. Window to window screen. As you can see that interior right there. It's the dash is like the dash. colon dash, right? I mean, if you listen to this in a podcast, just imagine looking ahead of the steering wheel and you see that little dash, you're looking for the driver information stuff, that little dash. Imagine that goes all the way across.
Yep.
Like it's multiple screens like pieced together. And then you have infotainment screen below that. And then you have the you pointed the steering wheel shape. It's not a yoke.
But it's like a flat top.
Right.
So it looks more like an oval than an actual circle. And what I think is really interesting, and obviously we weren't able to see it in person. We were invited, but we weren't able to go. So thanks to Lincoln for the invite. Sad we couldn't be there. But the Jeep has the 2-screen thing, like the passenger screen.
Oh yeah.
And they block it out so that the driver can't see it. So I'm wondering, like, can the driver see that entire thing, and how distracting is that?
It's hugely distracting to me. Hands-free driver check. Oh, this is interesting. They ditched the plug-in electric hybrid.
As far as I could tell from the press release, it looks like they are ditching the plug-in hybrid. They called it an HEV, and not a PHEV.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hybrid made a 2-liter turbo to 100 kilowatt electric motor. Should be more fuel efficient for sure. So let's look at some of these photos here. So we're calling this, Elliot says, the gorgeous.
I think it's pretty. Although what I think is interesting about the nose of this Lincoln is that I think it looks a lot more like a Ford.
I'm trying to see if I can't find other images of those. I click the button.
I mean, even the side of the taillight looks very Ford to me.
Yeah, I mean, and they were trying for a long period of time to make Lincoln stand out, not be a Ford.
But that two-toneness looks very Land Rover to me.
It is interesting. It's a very interesting shape. I'd be curious to know getting in and out of it. Looks like some massive wheels on this thing, like at least 20s, maybe even bigger. Available early 2024. Actual production vehicle may vary.
They had, yeah. I did not modify the captions on these. I was just trying to get it up.
Yeah, no, I mean that's good information. Our friend the site Jordan Golson actually messaged me because he did a video on this. He was showing me what he was doing with it, and he pointed out Lincoln was actually spelled out in the rear badge above in the taillights, so it's kind of like just hovering there in space, which is interesting. And then the sleek lines and all that kind of stuff going on. I would agree. I mean, it definitely turned some heads. I don't know in my life I've seen more than 2 Lincoln Nautiluses, though. I think one was an auto show.
Yeah, I've driven the Nautilus a couple of times. Like, I feel like Lincoln is such an underrated luxury brand. Mm-hmm. And I really, really like them. I think that they are the most peaceful vehicles. So, like, if you're looking for something sporty and roomy and loud, this is absolutely not it. But to me, it's just like you get inside and you shut the door and it's like, whoo, and you're like encased and enclosed. It's like somebody's giving you a warm hug as soon as you sit inside of a Lincoln. And, you know, the Nautilus is kind of in that weird position between the Corsair, which is the compact, and then the Aviator. So, I mean, it has a little bit of a weird position to it, but it still has a place. And I don't know. I really like the Nautilus. I feel like, and the one thing that I couldn't figure out, and I have a question out about it, is this just a significantly refreshed Nautilus, or is this like next generation Nautilus? Because they called it all new, but then they didn't talk about like a new platform or anything like that. But it does have new powertrains and this new interior. So I'm like, are they considering this next generation, or is this just significantly refreshed?
Well, and I mean, yeah, it's the language is hard too. Like, does it matter? like I think it matters to auto journalists like that geek out on that stuff, but I don't know. I think consumers gonna look at that and go, "It's all new." Like this, just the looks of it and the overall design of it. I mean, it looked good. It definitely looks good. I mean, I think Lincoln and Cadillac are probably in the same realm with me. They're
Mhm.
like they're a brand looking for an audience instead of an audience looking for more from the brand. I mean, just they're trying to figure out who they are, and I just I think they have a little ways
Well,
to go
see,
with it.
but the thing is I feel like Lincoln knows who they are, but they're just not getting exposed correctly. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it. Like, and I would say Cadillac and Buick, from General Motors, or like you want to like what what are they trying to do? And when we talk about the Envista in a second, I'll be
Yeah.
like,
Speaking of a brand that's kind of lost, unless I guess you're in China,
yeah,
Buick Envista, which our friend and colleague Chris Teague had the most hilarious Facebook post. He said, "Oh boy, another day to teach my autocorrect what a Buick model name is."
yeah. Invista. Yeah, I would be surprised if there's not some misspelled Invista here. But no, I mean this is the new entry level SUV for the Buick lineup, and yeah, pause right there. Okay,
23,000?
Buick is trying to position themselves as a an up level brand, like luxury. Yet
Yeah.
the base price for their base SUV costs the same costs the same as a Toyota Corolla Cross.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, they were trying to be was it what the GMC was using a premium word. Buick was using the I don't know what their word was, but yeah, that's it seems kind of weird. Like really weird.
And I mean, what's even weirder is the Buick Envista, which is again base entry level small SUV, is the same size as the Envision, which is like bigger than the Encore. And the Encore GX, which is the next vehicle up in the lineup, is smaller than the Envista. So I'm just like, what in the what?
Yeah,
And I mean, I wasn't at this event, and so like I couldn't ask my questions of a human. I did send a couple of emails out, and because I thought surely this is a typo, that this is bigger. It's like 0.1 inch bigger than the Envision, and I'm like, surely this is not correct, but it's correct. They said that the reason why this is less expensive than the Encore GX, even though it's longer, is it has less cargo volume. It has only one powertrain option, so it's front wheel drive only, or I guess one drivetrain option. And it only has one powertrain, which is the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder turbo.
I mean, I'm sorry, but 1.2 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine made it to a 6-speed automatic. Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, nothing about that feels good.
Right? I just was like, I was reading that. So Jill posted this up, and then I come over Reddit to double check for typos, things like that. And I read that, and I was like, oh my gosh, 136 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque. I just drove the Honda HRV with about that similar horsepower and torque numbers. I felt like Fred Flintstone put my leg out the side trying to get the thing to go. I mean, it couldn't get out of its own way. It was so slow. And I know you get used to powertrains the more you drive them. I know Jill and I are kind of different because we drive so much stuff. But my goodness, talk about underpowered out of the chute. It's incredible to me. So let's check out these photos of this Buick Envista. So you had said
I think it looks good.
is it a wagon? I mean, you put that question out there, didn't you?
I did. I said it looks a little bit like a wagon.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think of that front end? To me, it looks like slitted tiger eyes or something, like shark finner look. Or
it
something.
Makes me think of a fish.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't have a very appealing front end to me. I know.
It's like an angry fish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, so this is supposed to be based off of the design of the Buick Wildcat EV concept. So if you've been to an auto show, or if you've seen anything that came out of an auto show in the last year, you probably saw the Wildcat concept because it was probably the hottest thing at the show. Buick, I know. But it looked really good, and I'm like, okay, I see the headlights. I see some of the lines on the side. I see the taillights. I see some of the lighting signatures I see from the Wildcat. But I'm like, yeah, everything else I got nothing.
I feel like it's very. My initial reaction to this is very Jaguar. Or how do you say it? Jaguar.
Jaguar. You know what it looks like to me from that angle? It reminds me of the Honda Cross Tour, the Acura ZDX, or even like one of the BMW SUV sport coupes or whatever they call them, the SUVs that have that weird egg shape.
I will go back. It looks like a taller Corolla. It looks like the Corolla Cross, like a taller Corolla. I mean, sorry, same kind of. No, not you.
No, to me, the Corolla Cross looks like a RAV4, which has more of an upright stance. This looks like an egg.
There you go. Memorable quotes from the live stream. Looks like an egg, Tim.
It looks like an egg, Tim.
Let's see. And we have the new Buick badge. Looks like their logo on
the new hollowed out logo. And we saw the logo debut on the GX, the Encore GX. So this gets the logo, but it also gets more of the design cues.
Yeah, it's a very interesting looking. That rear end to me just looks like F-Pace or E-Pace, something to that, just the kind of shape. All right, inside the cabin. So, did we decide this gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or did GM?
Yeah. No, yes, and I would assume, though I don't know that I read it in the press release, that it has like the Google operating system, like the Chevrolets, and the Hummer. General Motors is moving to a Google operating system, so right. I would assume, and it's not an EV, so I'm assuming it gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As we talked about in our previous live stream, General Motors is doing away with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in their electric cars, but they've said that the internal combustion engine vehicles will still get it for now. So I don't think I remember seeing that. I wrote both this story and the Lincoln story today, so now the facts are kind of gelling together. But yeah, so I would assume wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, like the Chevrolet vehicles, and then a Google powered operating system with Google Maps.
So I'm stopping here at this interior image for one hot second because I'm looking at the dials left hand side of the steering wheel, and I'm wondering if that is the second one in is actually a headlight switch.
Can you enlarge it?
I'm thinking. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to see if I can't zoom in a little bit. Sometimes their website lets me to, it doesn't let me to. Like fights me. I swear that's a headlight switch. I swear it's got a.
All right, hold on. I think I've got the pictures on my computer still. So let's see.
That upper right hand icon looks like a headlight switch to me. I'm gonna go see if there's another image where I can zoom in a little bit better.
And I know where you're going with this.
Yes, you are well aware I'm going with this. Look, I got a different image. Yeah, that's got to be a headlight switch right there.
It does look like a headlight switch.
So if you guys recall, the Chevy Colorado does not have a headlight switch. It's now digital in the infotainment system. And I'm just curious now because this is the first vehicle that came out after the Colorado. I know GM sometimes works in silos, as most brands do. They don't tend to share notes very well inside the corporation. But I am curious now that this has a headlight switch.
It definitely is a headlight switch. I'm pulling that photo up on my computer and I enlarged it.
Yeah, it's a headlight switch. So again, we have GM that waxes parts of their frames, that e-coats other parts of their frames. Now you have certain GM vehicles that have headlight switches. Certain GM vehicles don't have headlight switches. And so it's like just confusing to me. Like, what are they doing? Oh, there's a closer look at that logo, hollow logo, the ST, and then there's the sport trim model. Looks kind of good in red.
Sport trim model with 136 horsepower. Woo! Woo!
Right, doing a little Ric Flair there. Woo!
Woo!
Right?
No.
I have a sunroof. What is GM's war on panoramic moonroofs? I swear they're the only brand that doesn't do them. Ram has one. Ford has one. I think even Nissan has one now too in the Titan. or did they get just a sunroof? They may have just got just sunroof, but I don't understand. But but then you look at like the Hummer and the Hummer SUV, they have freedom panels that come off. So why are they not? I don't know. It's the one complaint I have with my Silverado is that it gets pretty dark in the back for the kids in the cabin, and especially in the wintertime
Who
too.
cares about the kids?
But the other thing,
Put them to
right?
sleep.
But also in the wintertime, I like to have the window open because it brings in even more natural light, even when it's cloudy outside and overcast. It just makes the cabin feel brighter, and it feels like it's more friendly than it is the dark, drudged days of winter. Bah, bah, bah. And I don't
there's nothing that helps the dark days of winter in Chicago. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, that's true. So I don't understand what their issue is with the sunroof. It just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, 136 horsepower in an SUV like that. I know people are going to be like, yeah, it's fine. It's plenty. It's okay. Dave wants to know what a Nissan Titan is. He's making a funny joke. So I think that I don't understand why the ICE vehicles got to be so underpowered. Why does it have to be? Why can't it just be like, why can't it be better? Oh, wait, we got a super chat. We need a bell.
I know. Ding, 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 ding.
Nick Wilson offered $5. Thanks, Nick. Will you consider the new 2024 Ford Ranger Tremor or Raptor for your next long-term truck? Or will it likely be the Ram 1500 with the Hurricane engine? Ooh.
There are so many options coming in this next year with trucks that you could get. I mean, from the Tacoma, to the Ranger, Tremor or Raptor, to 1500. Hopefully, they haven't announced it with the Hurricane engine yet, though, have they?
No. So I mean, there's a lot that goes on in play when I discuss buying a new truck, and Jill knows this. I call her and we talk about things and we debate stuff and we do Google Analytics and we look at view count and stuff like that. We just look at a lot of stuff. And I think you guys have caught on by now that anytime I buy a new truck, I always think to myself, what's next? Like it's never about the truck I have. I'm always planning ahead. Like what's next? And so Jill and we talk about this all the time. Like we bought Silverado and Jill's like, we'll do these stories, do this story. We kind of talk about different things. And then it's like, we're always thinking in the back of our head, what's the next truck we're going to buy? There's some real challenges that come up with this. For example, whether the truck will be out by the year end, right? So the way my taxes work, I'm constantly kicking the can down the road because I'm pushing off my tax bill, which was $17,000 this year. But I bought a truck, so that went away. So keep kicking that can down the road. But if I don't have it in my possession by December 31st. So the Tacoma has me very curious because it's a trail. Oh, I'll get to that, Mark. Hold on. Is the trail? He points it out. On my wall, I have a selection of hats, and this is a selection of truck hats I get from events. And there's a trail hunter on the hats, and that's Tacoma's like off-road aftermarket accessory thing. And so Mark Kelly says that the trail hunter had a clue. So damn observant viewers. These guys are
that is not a clue. That is completely unintentional.
Well, I could put it on Instagram and be like Toyota and start teasing stuff out, right? Like take a little image of it, whatever. The Tacoma has me interested from a business standpoint in that Tundra did really well for this channel. And so getting another Toyota vehicle makes some sense from a business standpoint. My concern with the Tacoma is if they do, I just worry about timing. I'm not sure it'll be out in time. And as Mark pointed out with Trail Hunter, I actually really like the Trail Hunter version more than I like the Tundra version I had. So the Trail Hunter I saw in SEMA in Vegas, I really like that version, like a lot. And so it's like, well, should I buy that one or should I wait? Like nobody has a Trail Hunter Tundra on YouTube as far as I can tell. I don't think it's out. I don't think they done anything with it. So then I was like, well, maybe I should wait and do that because that'll be the best ROI, like Dave says, because it's got the most traffic, most views. People think a lot of that stuff. And so that comes to my mind. Like, all right, so, but if I do Tacoma, I got to get it heavy enough. It's got to be over I think it's 6,000 pounds GVWR, what the deal is with the IRS. So that forces me into buying the off-road version of it, the TRD Pro version, whatever the version is going to be. The same idea with the Ford Ranger Raptor. I'd have to buy I couldn't buy a Ford Ranger because it doesn't weigh enough. I have to buy the Ranger Raptor. The problem I have with the Ranger Raptor and the Tacoma TRD Pro is that in my area, it's really hard to do videos on it. I don't live in the Southwest where there's lots of deserts and things. And I also have concerns about how many views are going to be with those trucks. This channel is more like, I view this channel more of like everyman driver stuff, things that, you can just get in and drive, and all my neighbors have the same trucks. So like, I'm basically the same as my neighbors. I kind of do that. We buy the same trucks, we drive around, kind of deal. When you do off-roading stuff, it's a whole different audience. Like Jill's found out, Rebel Rally, it's a whole different audience. And so I really get concerned about that. The Raptor is the same idea. So you buy the Raptor, which I could just go buy one. It's not a money issue. I could just go buy one. But I look at a business standpoint. Like, how many channels have a Raptor? Like, how many Street Speed 717s? How many big YouTube channels have Raptors and stuff? They jump them, they put them on fire, they do all this stuff with them. And it's just like, I just don't think there's that big of a market for it. I think people like to watch it, and it's good entertainment, but I don't want to be an entertainment channel. I want to be a news channel and a journalist channel. I want to be real information. So yeah, Agent Carter asked, he goes, sounds like you should get one of the new heavy duties. I have thought about that too. So one of the things that I think it's come through with Jill and I's conversations that she's probably noticed is that I love when I buy a new truck that's different technology, like the diesel and the Duramax that I have outside. Oh my gosh, the questions we're getting, the response, the emails I'm sending out. I mean, the detailed information I'm getting on that truck is just fantastic, and it's really good content. And I really enjoy reporting on that. So a new heavy duty would be interesting as well, because that's a whole different animal. And you get in the heavy duty world, and it's, I know I've been in that world a little bit, and it is just, it's holy cow, hold on to your pants. There's lots of conversations going on. So see you later, Dave. Have a good show. If you missed at the end of our show, hop over to Dave's channel. He's doing a live stream. So it is an interesting question, but like Nick pointed out, appreciates the insight and answers. It's really about, there's lots of questions in my mind about what to make the right decision, because look, I get one chance of this. If I screw up, then I'm not impacting this channel. I'm impacting, our website. I'm impacting Jill's income. I'm impacting my family's income. Like, if I went, people are like, why don't you go buy the Nissan Titan? I have no problem with Nissan Titan. I think it's a great truck. No problem with that at all. But the problem with the Nissan Titan is nobody watches those videos. Nobody reads those stories.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's like, so that's always my question. Like, what are we gonna do? Which ones we're gonna get? Which ones we're gonna do? What truck we're gonna buy? And then when is it gonna come out? The Ram 1500. I'm really curious about Hurricane engine, because I think it could be really interesting. If that comes out as a 2024, I could definitely be a buyer for that for sure, because I think it's really, really interesting. I want to learn a lot more about it. I have really a lot of concerns with Ram, because I feel like Ram right now is like, gas trucks are selling, but hey, let's focus on the rev. Let's focus on the rev. I mean, it's everything I talk to Ram these days is all about EV. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, the Ram 1500 is actually old now. Like, Chevy already had a refresh. GMC already had a refresh. Ford's doing it. The 2024 Ford F50 is doing well on the channel right now. The views in those videos are starting to pick up. The website views in the F50 are starting to pick up. And I enjoyed that power boost I had in 21. And Ford is one of the biggest truck manufacturers out there. So if they come up with new F50 this year, boy, that's an interesting question too, right? That's a really interesting question. And the thing is, you have to understand with half-ton trucks, half-ton trucks are the market. When you look at the numbers between midsize, you look at heavy duties, you look at full-size trucks outsell all the other variants, like 2-to-1 in some cases, 3-to-1. So, I mean, I really want to stay full-size, because that's what the majority of people are watching videos on. And so I always tell people always ask me, they're like, what truck would you buy, Tim? I'm like, I would buy a Legacy Power Wagon, 1940 Power Wagon, the 6.2 liter V8 from Idaho for $250,000. And they're just like, wait, what new truck? I'd buy something stupid. I'd buy a Willys.
I'd buy something stupid.
I would buy some. If I had
talk about quotes from the. I'd buy something stupid.
There's a guy in Torrington that has monster trucks sitting outside his house with like those gigantic, like 60-inch tires, whatever the damn things are. I'd buy something completely unrealistic, because Why not? What the hell? Drive around town, have a good time. You know, I mean, I'd have a work truck, right? I'd do a 2-wheel drive, regular cab, flatbed, work truck, and I'd go buy something just really stupid to drive around. That's what I would do, because I think it'd be fun. But yeah, it's very interesting deciding what to do. And yeah, if people ask me all the time, do you still like the diesel? I do. I really like that truck. My cousin was asking me a question about that today, and I said to him, he says, well, do you like it? I said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna be sad when I sell it. He goes, well, you know, you could keep it. I'm like, no, I can't. And he was like, well, yeah, you could just keep it. I'm like, nobody's gonna watch it 22 versus 23. Nobody's gonna watch 22 versus 24. And then I have no tax write-off left on that truck. Like the business is, I legit can't keep it. And plus, why would I keep a truck that's older when a new thing comes out? I mean, people don't want to watch.
Unless you're having your wife drive it, no.
Well, she drove the Tundra, and she only put 2,000 miles on it. You know, people are like, well, you need to keep it for 10 years and do 120,000 miles and see how it holds up. Man, I am happy as hell I put 10,000 miles on a Tundra. I was like, woohoo! You know how hard it is for me to do that? I mean, so Jill and I, same case. Right now, I have 3 vehicles outside. And my truck, well, my 62 will be done pretty soon, so I have 4 vehicles outside. And I work from home. Like... Like there are days there's a Honda HR-V video coming out where it's like I'm literally driving 100 miles on Thursday afternoon. You know why? Because I had to. I had no miles in the vehicle. I need to get some experience with it. I drove for 2.5 hours just so I had some experience with it. I just, went at night, drove around.
You just need to come to Chicago more.
Well, yeah, but you drive. I mean, but let's talk about your driving. You have the gym, and which is a couple miles away.
Yeah, it's like 5 miles.
Yeah, so I mean, and your daily routine, if you could basically ride a bike to the gym, or you could just run, walk, you don't need a vehicle. So it's like
it's hard. I mean, the good thing is now that I'm going in studio for the Car Stuff podcast, that's out in the northwest suburbs. So I do have to go. I want to say it's like 30 miles each way. So that's like 60 miles I put on just by going out there.
Yeah.
So that helps. And then if I go to my parents' house, which I've been doing every weekend lately, that puts like another like 400 miles on. So
yeah, I mean, if I go to Fort Collins, I go to Fort Collins like once a month. I mean, so I make road trips to go different places to get miles on vehicles because I need more experience with it. What if they put the Hurricane engine in the Gladiator? Would you consider buying that? Ace Vent says, yeah. I'm not opposed to buying any truck. It's just, I've always said, I want the newest truck in the market, the one that's got the newest things. I want the greatest change in powertrain, greatest change, right? And I want the thing that's going to move the needle. So if there's a new Chevy truck, new Ram truck come out, and the Chevy's got a new powertrain and it's got a bunch of new features, I'd buy the Chevy or the Ram. Not because I think the Chevy's a better truck than Ram or Ram's a better truck than Chevy. It's just there's more things to talk about. That's really what it comes down to on that stuff. What if Jill got a job at Uber Eats? Would that help? Oh, she doesn't need another
certainly
job.
Put more miles on.
I want to. Akbar kept asking questions. I want to make sure I get. I'm a script's name. Yes. So,
Abu Bakr.
Okay. So that's the best I can do. Favorite 3-row SUVs in a non-luxury class. Hyundai Palisade, I think. That's 3, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, Hyundai Palisade, I say, is one of the favorites. I really liked the new Mazda CX-90. I mean, they're in like near luxury these days, but I really liked that. I feel like Wagoneer and the Grand Cherokee L, like if you need space in the third row, those are pretty amazing.
Yeah, my golf buddy was just talking today about the Grand Wagoneer, and I was like, yeah, that thing's $100 and some thousand dollars. Like that is the luxury Wagoneer, the Grand one. The Wagoneer is much more reasonable. I've actually been seeing several Wagoneers driving around lately. I think people are starting to pick those up from dealership lots. It's always funny to me, my friend Dave and I share screenshots of YouTube thumbnails and stuff like that, and like the collapse of the car market starting, and more people are upside down car loans, and things are going sideways, and start filing bankruptcy immediately. And then I drive around town, I see new vehicle, new vehicle, new vehicle, new vehicle, new vehicle, new vehicles. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong, but I see a lot of new vehicles out there, and we do sales reports, and a lot of people are buying new vehicles. So the Wagoneer is a good one. I I want to say the Grand Highlander. He asked earlier about the Grand Highlander and
But we haven't driven it yet.
But we haven't driven it yet. So
yeah,
I feel like that's an issue. I also feel like something's going on in the industry right now where people are wanting things immediately. That there's a Chevy Colorado group I'm a fan of on Facebook, and people are so mad at GM for screwing up the launch. They screwed up the launch, and I'm like, they didn't screw up the launch. Well, their trucks are waiting to be shipped. It's an EPA thing. It's something that happens all the time. Like there's no screwing up that launch, and it's just really we've become a very impatient society. I think people are going in and ordering brand new vehicles without driving them, just assuming they're going to drive well. And they're seeing, for example, you see the Hummer is on YouTube as a digital reveal, whatever. Then people went and placed deposits immediately, and they want to go buy one. And then they're like, "Why?"
5 years later, no.
Yeah, they're like, I've been waiting 24 months for my Hummer. Yeah, and they're like, well, that's just way too long. I'm like, but they told you it was coming out in a couple of years. like I don't know if it's automakers need to like relax and not show us stuff off right away, or if people need to say, hey, it's coming out. So, for example, I have deposits on the Ram EV and the Silverado EV, and I'm not thinking it's going to come out anytime this year. Maybe next year, maybe the year after. I really don't think it's going to come out anytime soon, especially by the time I get one. I mean, my goodness, they can build what the Hummer they built 2 in Q1. They built 99 the year before, and they have 115,000 reservations, whatever. And I'm like, okay, you've built 101 Hummers in a year and a half, and you have 155,000 reservations. So, like we've said lately on this channel and other live streams, that dude with a $155,000 ticket, he's screwed. He's never gonna get it. You were never gonna get one. You were that guy. Once you get about 100,000 reservations, you were never gonna get one. It'll be a new model before you'll never get that one. They'll have a mid-cycle refresh or something by the time.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna tangent here for a minute, because Todd mentioned it has to be Cracker Barrel. I'm assuming that was in reference to like Uber Eats or something.
Yeah.
So I was at my parents this weekend, and my sister, like, who doesn't watch this or listen to this, I think she listened last week, and that was probably her first time, and there was no Cracker Barrel mention. But I'm like with my sister, and she's like, we really need to take my mom to Cracker Barrel. It was like, there are so going to be, photos if that happens, with the cheesy potatoes and the fried apples that are going to be on the Instagram chant, for Pickup Truck Plus SUV talk. Because I was just like, oh, that's hilarious. So if we take my mother to Cracker Barrel, expect photos.
I'm still... I've known Jill for, I realized we did a podcast back in like 2017, I think it was. It was on my Facebook memories because Pickup Truck Talk started in 2016.
Yeah, because it was after I moved from my condo to the apartment. So it was post 2016.
Yeah, I think it was 2017 when I enlisted your help with the podcast. So this outlet started, and I had a podcast because I wasn't competing with my freelance outlets. Then my freelance outlets like Truck Trend and Digital Trends, a bunch of these, they just collapsed, and so I started doing this full time. Well, and then COVID happened, so that I had to hire. I basically had to hire Jill. I was overwhelmed, completely swamped, and so I had a Facebook memory on that. I wish I would have saved all those. I wish I would have saved them. Don't wish I saved them. I mean, I don't know if we go back in time and listen to those because they're really old now. But things have changed over the years. So yeah, it's cracking me up. I was like 2017. That's interesting how far back things go. But I've known you for years and years, even before that, and I just would never think of you in Cracker Barrel. And not being offensive. I'm not trying to say.
Well, you'd never thought of me eating Al's beef either. So
yeah, So the funny thing with Jill is Jill weighs as much as my left leg, and people get this impression that she eats, pine straw and berries off trees all day and drinks purified water at every meal with nothing else in it. And Jill actually can throw down sometimes. I mean,
sometimes that's just it. Moderation. I do like food.
Yeah, but you had texted me. You went to McDonald's and got like so Jill goes to McDonald's and she gets a small cheeseburger and a small fry, right, or whatever, cheese fries or whatever.
Wendy's. I don't go to McDonald's anymore.
Is it Wendy's? Okay,
Yeah.
so but that kind of surprised me. But the thing that you got to realize is that she's buying something that fits her, her size. Like she's not doing the large fries with the big, Dave's burger with the bacon and all that stuff in it. She's doing some French fries, So it's not even close to the same.
But the better choice when you're going to Wendy's, I'm just going to put this out there, is the chili.
Chili, yeah, the chili's pretty good. All right, so
that was like weird topic number 3. Should we go back to the painted nails?
right. I think we should honor Todd here. Todd's asking a bunch of questions. Right. Jill needs to go live and vlog the entire outing at Cracker Barrel. Probably not. Jill, did you get your family to go golfing on Easter Sunday? You were talking about doing the Top Golf thing, weren't you?
Yeah. No, I completely random aside. The family situation is a little bit tough right now. So getting out of the house to do anything is tough, and we just haven't been in that space. So no, we did not, unfortunately. I still have hopes. Maybe I can get my sister out.
There you go. Jill, how are you in hot dogs?
I always have to have a hot dog with at ball games. Like I have to have a hot dog with mustard and onions.
So Jill's a big Cubs fan, by the way. Doug says,
or a Cardinals fan.
Right. Really, she's a Cardinals fan. Her husband kind of. One of the world champion hot dogs eaters, a woman about Jill's size. So we expect you to throw down like 500 hot dogs.
That would be a no. Or maybe after I've run a marathon, I could do 500 hot dogs, but no.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't even think they chew. They literally just swallow.
I think I've seen it on ESPN. They dip it in water to just make it. They try to get it down as fast as they can. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we answered all the questions tonight.
All of the weird food, non-car related questions. I'm like, I'm sure there are questions up here. I'm gonna scroll back and see if there's.
Todd says, a lot of people get a double size, super size, and a Diet Coke. When I worked at McDonald's when I was 16, people come through drive-thru. They want a double quarter pounder, large fry, and a Diet Coke. And I never could figure that one out. I never.
You know what? I will say I'm a Diet Pepsi drinker, but a regular Coke drinker. Because I like the taste of regular Coke and I like the taste of Diet Pepsi if I'm going to order soda.
I avoid places that sell Pepsi. Like our clubhouse used to have Diet Coke. Used to have a Diet Coke. I'm a big Diet Coke drinker, and they switched to Pepsi, and now I won't go inside. I stopped going inside. I can't stand Pepsi. I literally can't stand it.
Yeah, Diet Pepsi for me.
Oh, yeah, that's why we're different. Oil and water, you and I. Oil and water. Okay.
It's just water.
It's an inside joke with Jill and I. We'll let you in the story sometime. I think we told the story a few times in live streams. Any other questions you're saying that I'm not saying?
I felt like there was something up here that I'm trying to look for. I don't know.
Yeah, Mazda does need to make a pickup again. Our brand needs a pickup. I think it's about time.
You know what? If Mazda did a pickup truck, I could see them doing something like the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Give it like the with the CX-50 with the extra cladding and stuff like that, make it a little bit more off-roady.
It'd be easy to do for these brands. Just take their SUV, chop out the back, make a little bit longer frame, whatever you need to do, and put it on there. I find it interesting that Honda did a Ridgeline, and Ridgeline sales are up, and people freaking love the Ridgeline. I don't know why other brands that do it, and I don't understand with like Ford, why don't they do more Lincoln? Why isn't Lincoln have a Blackwood again? If these Platinum's getting to be $90,000, what make the Lincoln? What do you guys think of a diesel in the new ZR2 in 2024? I actually really like it. I'm a big fan of the diesel. I think diesel off-road is awesome because in the Colorado with the diesel in it, we went rock climbing with it, and you basically just put it in gear and just steered. Like, it has so much low-end torque, it just climbed itself up the rocks, right? The only problem with the diesel, though, in the ZR2 is that when you're going full out in the desert as fast as you can, and you're going through the corners and trying to get speed out of the corners, it is slow. You basically do 2-foot brake, 2-foot driving. You're on the brake in the corner, keeping the engine revved up, and then let go of the brake to get through the corner even faster is what what we discovered we had to do with Colorado to get to the corners better with the diesel. So yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, Wilmar. So I went to high school in St. Louis. So he says there's no such thing as a Cardinals fan rooting for the Cubs. I went to high school in St. Louis. So started out, first professional ball game I went to were the Cardinals. And now I've spent the last 20 years in Chicago, still a Cardinals fan. Wanted to have our wedding photos taken in front of Wrigley Field with me holding a Cardinals hat, and I thought my husband was going to kill me. I thought the wedding almost did not happen. So here's the thing: until the Cubs won the World Series in 2016? It was like, they're never gonna win. So if I'm at a Cubs game, like I'll just root for them because they're no threat.
Yeah,
they're no threat. And I still they're still not going to win. Like it's going to be another 100 years before they get another World Series. So I feel like I can still root for them ish. But St. Louis Cardinals, they are the primary team that I root for. I just had to put that out there, just to allay any fears. And and White Sox is my Chicago team.
Okay, so
there you go. Another digression.
Diet Pepsi, White Sox,
St. Louis Cardinals.
You were a strange lady.
And I like chili from Wendy's.
And the was it cheesy potatoes from
cheesy potatoes, fried apples. Just gonna put that out there.
There you go. All right, there you go. For more, check us on the website, pickuptrucktalk.com. Also find us online, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, all the social medias. As always, thanks for watching. We will see you down the road.